Hello everyone, I'm happy to see you here. Thank you for joining that conference and my talk about design ops in practice. Today I'd like to share the story of applying some design ops principles on my project and how it helps our design team improve and speed up the design and development. It's also a story about transfer from Sketch to Figma, which could be pretty much actual for many designers and teams in heavy projects. But firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Ilona. I'm senior experience designer here at EPAM. Started as a front-end developer in 2012 and moved to experience design in 2014. I have diverse experience in user interface design and full understanding of development process. I also higher educated in human-computer interaction design. I have worked in complex domains as a single designer and as a design team lead. And one of the most powerful and complex things in being in a project is teamwork, collaboration, and being able to set up comfortable and effective processes. Today, I'm going to share some information about the project, what problems we faced, and what were circumstances. Also, I'll show the design ops way which I developed to solve problems and what were the results. So let's start from the beginning and dig deeper into the project and how we've been working. The project is e-commerce platform for more than 17 countries with their own language, features, restrictions from technical side, government and others. We have three main user roles: guest, customer, and business user with specific needs and requirements. Project team is also pretty big. More than 70 people with different roles, a lot of developers, analysts, managers, and stakeholders. The design team itself has a lot of people and rotation inside. In different times, we had different team leads, and the last one is me, UX and visual designers, user researchers. I want to describe the overall condition on the projects so you could compare it with your current project and maybe find some ways to improve your project conditions too with design operations. So overall condition on the projects are a lot of people, three different development streams going at the same time, not the smallest one, design team, 17 versions of the websites with its own language, features, and restrictions, huge legacy of design and code. And inside design team, the work was challenging too. We used to design in Sketch, which is pretty hard when it's more than one person involved into design. We published changes in InVision to demonstrate interactions and designs. Because of sketch files, and it's always personal, we developed the approach for manual versioning in Dropbox. We copied files and gave it specific names. This approach was very hard to support and onboard newcomers into it. For developers, we use Zeppelin. Zeppelin is pretty slow because of a lot of files inside. Developers had to deal with it every day. The loading of each mockup could take several minutes. And it was pretty hard to find something there at the first place. Additionally, we used Exure to prepare realistic prototypes for usability tests. As you can see, it's a lot of tools and everything needs to be synchronized and always up to date. And it's not all challenges that we had. Now I'll tell you more about our goals and summarize all issues that we faced with. The project and of course design goals are offer the most intuitive and clear interface for all users so they could enjoy it. Balance between easy to use website for guests and customers and high features for business users. Provide consistent experience through these 17 versions of the portal and decrease the load on customer service. The design team constantly has deal with design for 17 European countries, 3 development sprint running at the same time, which we need to support, planning and estimating of design work in unclear requirements, technical and time limitations, of course. The design legacy, different design tools from times, a lot of unrecognized files, drafts and final designs, components, duplicates, and the lack of design consistency in general. Additionally, we had several governance and organizational problems. The lack of transparency in the team about design work, like what design team does in general. Manual version in Dropbox. Difficulty in finding up-to-date design in a lot of sketch files and states. Complex and heavy UI kit with a huge legacy in components. Legacy in development, which affects design, of course. Inconsistency and lack of components reusage in design and in the development. We didn't have design review in general, and we had some technical limitations like sketch library restrictions and the slowness of Zeppelin. And what I decided to do is to analyze and organize our way of working and design, optimize and improve it. And the best tool to do so is design operation practices. According to famous professionals of usability and UX design, Nielsen Norman Group, the design ops is a practice which helps to establish processes and measure their support, build scalable solutions for some design and project challenges so that designers could focus on design and research. With your permission, I will not stop on the design ops topic itself. My colleagues had really comprehensive talk about design ops in the first day of the conference, and you can find the recording in communityz.com. So let's go forward to my example of applying design ops. Based on design ops practices, I planned the optimization work on the project. Firstly, me and my team had to discover our current processes, tools, and governance. After that, we have to think about organizational improvements and we should choose the best tools and approaches for us. Then, together with the team, we need to define and share new principles and processes. Next step is to build new way of work and document it for the future. After some time of living with the new processes, the team should carefully track the feedback and status and improve the processes if it's needed. I started with analyzing our current project workflow. In this diagram, you can see that design sprint comes first and the result of it goes to development sprint. But initially, we have a lot of things missed. User stories sometimes missed and incomplete. No Scrum Master inside the team, which makes a lot of Scrum rules missed. Product owner wasn't really involved into the working process. Design review as a separate activity was missed. Of course, we shared the results in demo to stakeholders and developers, but it wasn't an established process through sprint to sprint. It took place like spontaneously. Because of unclear user stories, we usually didn't have strong definition of done, and it makes changes difficult to track. We didn't have the retrospective and do not track team feedback and status. And the last missed part was in the development sprint. The design team wasn't involved into it completely. I already mentioned about issues with a lot of tools, so we decided to find another one. The criteria for new tool were collective usage because of a lot of people in the team, versioning, so we don't need to have this manual versioning in Dropbox anymore, the ability to create complex file structure because of 17 version of the portal, the ability to create and reuse a library of components, and easy access for designers and developers. So Figma became perfect candidate for it. I also thought about timing, and for us it was 2 weeks to build migration roadmap and plan, then 2 months to prepare Figma for daily basis, and 6 months to transfer all mockups to Figma completely for routine tasks. I tried to foresee the risks such as losing files and designs, time-consuming processes, additional efforts, and unfamiliarity of team members with the new tool. So some solutions for us which could help you too in the same situation were to save design files in Zeppelin and Dropbox for some time, plan and work collectively, take into account these additional efforts for transfer and let stakeholders know about it. To organize files in the way to avoid heaviness for future. And we participated in additional trainings for Figma, about Figma, and we had consultancy from our experts from design community. And the migration roadmap that we built is for 7 sprints, where we need to build the library of components, create the style guide for these components, build Figma files for daily basis, document all of it, and start to transfer mockups in daily basis during the works in the general tasks. The important thing here and in Design Ops is the way of organizing the tools and the files. So Figma allows to build really complex structure which could really help in the design. So in the first level of Figma, which is team level, we have 50 plus members, which are designers, developers, stakeholders, and others with different restrictions. Some of them could just comment, some of people could change their design files. The next level is a project level, where we have 4 main sections. First one is UX library with elements and components for low fidelity wireframing to quickly check the ideas. And the UX flows is the particular mockups and ideas in the low fidelity. Then we have UI library is the unified source of truth for designers and developers, and a complete set of components of the interface in the final design. And UI flows is the final design solutions prepared for development and ready for testing. The next level is files. In each section that I mentioned, we have different Figma files. For example, in UI library, we have a components file with the set of interface elements, then the style guide with the explanation of each element, when it could be used and how, and the master pages. This is the specific file for tracking the versions, and I will come back to that a bit later. The next level is pages level. In each Figma file, we have pages with the name of Jira ticket, and it reflects the number of this ticket and the name of the designer who worked on it. It helps us to come back to the previous version or in the history to understand what has been done. The next level is sections. Each page could contain several sections with the different options, different designs, or some part of the designs. Each section has its own status, which reflects in Jira. For us, it was in progress, on preview, done, and on hold status. Next level, flows. We're trying to organize our designs not as a set of mockups, but as the logical flow, so developers and stakeholders could understand the way of interaction with the interface and build it. Each flow should be designed for our project in desktop, tablet, and mobile. The next level is frame level. Each frame reflects the interface and in the scope of a particular Jira ticket and has specific naming convention too. We name it with the platform, then user type like guest, customer, or business user, and then screen name. And the last level is components level. This is the specific usage of any component in a particular page to build the solution. And naming convention here is the name of the platform and then component name, for example, field or dropdown and so on. And all components and its names synchronized with the development. So we have an ability to name the same things with the same names. As I promised, we come back to master pages. This is the specific Figma file which allows us to track the versions. So this master pages file contains up-to-date state of each design page of each design file in the system. So any development, any designer could come to this file, see the latest update and start to work on it. For example, develop it or redesign and do some new features. Of course, we improved the design process. Right now, we involve product owners in each step of the sprint for designers. We're trying to formulate user stories completely, and it of course affects the design in general. And we right now have demo sessions for developers and stakeholders, so everyone understands what's the result of the design sprint each time. We created new UI kit with the set of up-to-date components, reduced the amount of it, deleted the repeated ones, and synchronized naming with the developers. And we explain each component in the style guide, so everyone could see what our different component means and how it could be implemented and used. We document in knowledge base all our rules and governance around project information overall, how to work in the project, what are processes in other teams, what tools we use, and what are rules and naming conventions, what are governance and ceremonies in the sprint. Now I want to summarize the achievements that we have thanks to DesignOps. First of all, we update and structurize the library of components and synchronize it with the development, which helps the whole team to work in the same page. Right now, we have an ability to collaborate on the design files and work together at the same designs. We reduced effort for versioning because of master pages and Figma possibilities. We speed up the usage of design files for these developers. They don't need to waste time for waiting right now, and it loads pretty fast. We improved components reuse and updated. Because of Figma auto layouts and other features, we speed up the design for each sprint. And we improve design processes and governance. We documented and set up needed ceremonies. Right now, the work of the design team is transparent for the whole team. Everyone understands what are results from each sprint, each design sprint, and everyone in design team understands what to do, what to use, and where to go. So we spend less time for versions, less time for design tasks in general, and we make things easier for developers. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.